everybody you can name who worked on that team, you don't hear it, but those investments have made a huge difference. We now have a 99% accuracy rate in our monthly bill. 99%. Collections have gone up to 87% because you had the courage to support the New Day program, you had the courage to fund it, and now our citizens and customers and consumers are benefiting from it. We have a master plan for recommendations regarding capital improvements for the first time through 2050. We've already made some investments in the Scott County water treatment plant, high service pumps, transfer pumps, steel and ground storage, ozone generators. Investments have already been made. This is not a reaction to today's headlines. I think it would be really insulting and unfair to the men and women who've been working so hard for the last 7 years to somehow even intimate that this is a reaction. This is actually, the headlines is a reaffirmation that we're doing the right thing, moving in the right direction. We will need, and our number one priority now is to continue to rehabilitate and upgrade Scott County Treatment Facility. We must invest, and I'll be honest with you, Madam Presiding Officer, I thought on more than one occasion that I might lead this for the next CEO. Come in here and ask for a rate increase. And the reason I decided not to leave it for the next CEO, whoever he or she may be, is because one of the main reasons we got into the shape we were in is that people who preceded me and commissioners and others decided to leave it to the next group of commissioners, or decided to leave it to the next CEO, to kick it down the road. Well, we can't kick this can no further than where it is right now. We have a 3 to 5 year window to make major investments in the Scott County water treatment plant, or else we risk a catastrophic failure. If this plant stops pumping fresh water, there are no other options. It is the only plant that we have. So I ask, as a CEO, but I may beg you as a private citizen, let's have the courage of Scott County. It wasn't the most popular thing to do. He became the target of immense criticism, but because he had the vision and the courage, today we live in one of the most prosperous, dynamic counties in this state and in this nation. That's my ask, and in the coming weeks, Mr. Williams and Ms. Hauser will provide you with a detailed plan that will result in increased water and sewer rates for our consumers. All of us will have to invest in this ongoing effort. And if you're criticized or if you're questioned, you can always put it on me. Just say Mike did it. But I'll be comfortable in knowing that I'm living in a county where our water and our infrastructure is as strong and as efficient and as improved as it could possibly be. One last thing. Scott County was defeated and run out of office. All he did, the greatness that he, the investments, what he earned was disfavor from the voters. But I'll leave you with this. True leaders don't just live for the next election. They invest and they work to ensure opportunities for the next generation. History, not the voters, but history casts the final ballot. Thank you.
And I know that what Mike says, Mike is going to do. And I also know that you always have the interests of the people when you make decisions. So I want to thank you, and I want to thank DeKalb County for what you all have done to assist Atlanta over the weekend, because it could be us, you know. And so I am committed to doing what is best for DeKalb, to continue to lead DeKalb forward, putting us on solid ground, not solid political ground, but a solid foundational ground. And so I just want to thank you, because I know some of the things that you do is not comfortable and it's difficult, but you were planted the seed to be the person that you are. And so I thank you, and I'm sure that you won't have everyone that appreciates you in DeKalb County, but I know that the majority of us do. So thank you. And with that, I'm going to see if any of my fellow commissioners have any. Okay, Commissioner Lone Spears, thank you.
Thank you, Madam Presiding Officer, and thank you so much for being with us today, CEO. You mentioned towards the end of your presentation that Mr. Williams and Ms. Hauser will be coming back to us with a plan. Could you let us know when and what that plan will entail? High level.
Yeah, within the next 7 days.
Oh, great. Okay, so it'll be coming back to us, I guess, by the next, do you plan on presenting at PWI, Mr. Williams, or at a future COW? When can we look forward to this plan? I know we're all eager to continue addressing it.
I would like to see it in the committee of the whole, where everyone is present and everyone can comment or question it. So I would know at our next committee of the whole, unless you would like to present it prior to then, I would like to see it in the next committee of the whole.
Madam Presiding Officer, through the Commissioner, I think the next committee of the whole is perfect.
Is that fine with you?
Oh, absolutely. Would it be possible to send it to us in advance so we can review it and then have an opportunity to meet with you?
Absolutely.
And is it Dr. Hauser? Please forgive me if I'm making
No,
it
just Director.
Director Hauser, okay.
So, over the next week, between now and then, we will do like last time, and come by and do reviews.
Okay, fantastic. All right, appreciate it very much. Yield back to you, Madam Presiding Officer.
No.
Okay, did you have something, Commissioner Patrick?
Yeah, Madam Presiding Officer, thank you. CEO, absolutely agree with everything you said. Going back to Commissioner Candler, he was unpopular for doing that. They thought he was foolish and wasting taxpayers' money for doing that. He floated $1 million bond to get DeKalb County the largest water system south of Virginia at the time. And so, being visionary, displaying leadership is not often rewarded very well, but at the end of the day, making sure that our residents have access to clean, potable water, simply for their families, let alone for the commercial, let alone for the jobs that go with it, it's highly important for the future of the county. So thank you very much for that. And yes, I do think it would be appropriate for this to be at the next COW, so that all the commissioners present have an opportunity to talk about it. Hopefully we can have a bit more of an in-depth discussion as we get back into the PWI meeting after that. And then a final question for you, Mr. CEO. Some of the numbers that were discussed, 4.4 billion was the number that Maria had put out over 25 years. That seems like a lot of money for ratepayers. Are there there other alternatives that your team could look into to help us get this taken care of, particularly in that 10-year time frame that she said was so critical?
But one of the things I believe, just having discussed it with our team, what we have to prioritize. Nobody's gonna write a $4.4 billion check. It's just not going to happen. So what we've done over the last 7.5 years is prioritize the investments and the resources that we have. What we wanna continue to emphasize is that this is a journey. What she was saying, and I think hopefully, people simplified it. That's over the next 25 years. What we need to do is get through the next year and the next 5 years. So that's what this plan is about. How do we continue on the journey? The journey of 1,000 miles began with one step. The first $500 million we spent, I'm not sure, because people were focused on other things, but we went out and invested and improved and invested $500 million. And we still have $140 million surplus. So it can be done. We were able to pay our public safety, our fire and rescue, our police officers. It can be done, but you have to be strategic. You have to think prospectively and innovatively in order to do it. The one thing we can't do is nothing.
Agreed.
I guess that's my point. Scott County, the improvements at Scott County, really, we're projecting that's $250 million. So you don't need a check for $4.4 billion. But sometimes you just have to pay as you go.
Understood. Thank you, CEO. Thank you, Madam Presiding Officer.
Thank you. And, one of the things that I didn't say is that I have friends in Atlanta, and I know how difficult it was for them over the last 2 to 3 days. And when you start talking about commercial, there's so many commercial businesses in Atlanta that suffered because of this. And we won't even talk about the hospitals and other entities that had a direct impact. So, thank you so much for bringing this to our attention. I know that there are figures and details that we have to work out on this. But like you say, a mile starts, well, you didn't say a mile, but I'll say a mile starts with a step. So thank you. And Commissioner Longspear.
Thank you, Madam Presiding Officer. Just back to my original question, the plan, what information will you be presenting in this plan? I imagine a timeline, like any performance measures, other details.
Well, yes. Let me just say that one of the most detailed people on the planet that I've ever met is Maria Howard.
Well, that's good that you're leading the plan.
No fear,
drafting
you will have more
process.
details than you can ever imagine. She drives me almost to insanity. Trust me, we could.
They actually have access to it right now on the SharePoint side.
Oh, great, it's on the SharePoint site?
Yeah, on the Board of Commissioners SharePoint side, you have the project listings with the GIS graphics and a description of them.
But you'll add more detail to the actual plan itself when you present it to us. Okay, great.
And we've been working on this for several years.
Yeah.
I mean, this is not, I want to reiterate, this is not a reaction to anything.
Sure. I think you couched it as phase 2.
Yes.
Correct, okay. My second question is, the document that you distributed has the project list, the key water infrastructure projects from 2017 to 2024. Within the plan that you present to us, are you going to be providing us the needed human resource supports? Are we hiring more people to help us accomplish this project?
It will be a comprehensive plan. Anything not included that you may question, we'll be more than delighted to provide additional information. Whatever it takes to get an informed decision from this governing authority, we are ready and willing and able to provide it for you. Not only with our own personnel, Mr. Hayes and others and Ms. Hauser, we have an excellent team of support, consultants and private contractors. So any question asked, we'll be able to answer.
Go ahead. Director Hauser, do you have something to add?
And can I say this, Director, before you answer? The plan has not
What
been.
we're doing today is
thank you.
notifying the public that we are going, that number one, we're gonna ask for a rate increase.
Right.
And that the plan will be presented.
Okay,
No
so
one
that-
will be surprised about anything.
Okay, and so that's just what I want the public to understand, that the plan is being brought back in 2 weeks.